where it's all about the Philbro and the competition and like, oh, how am I ranking and whatever. Like they can make their own world of that, but when they come poison our advocacy world with that shit, I just want that shit rejected.
You know, I agree with that 100%, for sure. Yeah, because I was like, what in the world are you even doing? Like Martha is just Martha all the time. There's no drama. It's just Martha, right? So
yeah, and you'll notice I didn't do a retaliative call out live on him, like, because I don't do that. I'm not gonna waste my time with that shit.
No.
I just clarified. No. I clarified my position. I clarified my stance on the pedo versus child transition stance that I have. I just clarified it on my page. If anyone wants to look at what I actually think instead of what people's misrepresentation of my view is, you can read it on there. It's pretty clear there how I feel. I would really like to stigmatize child transition to be as bad as like the pedo stigma. I think that anyone who supports child transition or transitions children themselves should be seen in society as worse than pedos because of the sexual and permanent destruction of the child. There's no hope for recovery. They absolutely take from that child everything they could ever have sexually, and they take their healthy body away from them, and they take their sexual function away from them, and they take their fertility away from them, and they take the ability to ever have a normal, healthy sex life or a normal, healthy family or a normal, healthy life. They take that from that child permanently, where no therapy could ever bridge that gap ever. Like you could never get back your ability to procreate, your ability to have sexual function, your ability to have a normal, any semblance of a normal life. So I want that stigma to reach people who condone this and people who do this to kids. I want that stigma to be square on doing this to children, because if children can't consent to sexual contact with adults, why the fuck could they consent to adults sexually destroying them permanently? Right? Why can't we compare that? So I'm going to keep comparing it, and I'm going to keep trying to put the stigma on them.
Yeah, why would anybody have a problem with you comparing that? Like, of course.
Well, because, like, way back, I don't know if you were here, Crystal, but it was about a year ago. Maybe not a year. Maybe it was like 6 months ago or 7 months ago. Gatto and Bubbles and somebody else decided that they wanted to make it a big deal. Like, I was making that comparison. It came up in a live. And they used to like to crucify me a lot. Like, the GC side used to like to crucify me and put me on trial, like, all the time. Like, they would put me on trial about my tweets, or they'd put me on trial about my stances on blackface and womanface, and they'd put me on trial about whatever. And so they decided that today was the day to put me on trial for that. And then the entire, not the entire, but like half the GC community just like crucified me over this stance. And then went and had another, like Christy went and had a live about it, and everyone just like rallied around like being outraged at Martha. And it did a lot of damage. Oh, Nate did too. They all jumped on this like shit bandwagon of trying to slander me about this. And it was a power move. It was like a whole politics within the movement and like the hierarchy of GCs and whatever. It was just a bunch of bullshit. But it actually did do damage to my reputation and my advocacy. There was multiple people who wouldn't panel me. There was it caused a lot of damage to what I'm trying to do here on this app. And then I painstakingly, as I always fucking do with the drag queen comparison, with the blackface, with the pedo versus transition, I dragged myself back up and I was like, explain. This is what I'm saying. And of course they forget about it too and they move on to somebody else. But yeah, no, it did do a lot of damage. And so Kukoa wanted to capitalize off of that to try to drag me through the mud because he was mad about me telling them to fuck off. So yeah, it was a whole thing. And I fought with a lot of the GCs about it. And some people, the TRAs loved it too because they could try to discredit me that way and be like, oh, I won't even talk to someone who thinks this. And then they won't panel me, they won't talk to me. It was a tactic to, render me render my voice silenced, I guess. And it's so disappointing that GCs want to do that because of their petty hierarchical shit, their little cliques and shit. But the TRAs love it. They jumped on it so hard. And but it was a while back, and you know, a lot of people agree with me, and then other people are just like, who cares anymore or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That's the story
understand
of
why
that.
anybody wouldn't agree with you. It's one of the most horrible
I know.
things imaginable to do to kids. Like
I know.
really like if
But
I
you know
if I could
what it is,
say,
Crystal? It's just like the same thing as the blackface thing. Like people got mad at my comparison about that because they don't see it as bad. So when they're brainwashed by the ideology, and I
Disgusting ass voice.